back on a show that's not about sports. Wait a minute. It's not a sports show.
There you go.
Okay. All right, we're going to get this right one of these days. One of these days. With my salmon. Don't talk about my salmon now. I'll come in there.
Find me one.
I'll come in there and Santa your ass. I'll sanitize you down.
Mark, why don't you introduce our guest?
Okay,
here?
we got a special guest in the palatial mansion, Mr. Bart Scott, linebacker extraordinaire, Jets, Jets. Bart Scott, how you doing, man?
Maintaining. You did better than my boy Tony Richardson. He actually at the draft spelled that wrong.
No, he did not.
Yes,
he did. Yeah,
J-E-T-E Jets. Yes,
Jets. Yeah,
that was one of the big. That was one of the big flub ups from last year.
and he did it slow too. He was like,
Oh,
it
it
was
was
like
awful.
not right.
It was awful
Well,
and
that's because
funny at the
that's
same
because he
time.
was used to hearing the song, not actually singing it.
Yeah, I got a shout out. We lost one of my most favorite people in pro wrestling, Howard Finkel.
Oh yeah,
And Howard Finkel was a Jets fan, a season ticket holder for 20 years.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. And a lot of times, Howard was on the road doing pay-per-views and stuff. So he would give his tickets to fans that would write the WWE. And if you showed him a picture of you with all your Jets gear, he would mail you
Is that
his
right?
tickets.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like an awesome dude, man. I'm gonna miss him. This time of year is real special to me because a new champion.
Yes.
Howard
It's
would
one of those
always
things, right?
call
He
me and
represented
say,
he was the voice. He was the voice of an era, right? So when
Yeah,
you think
I
about the golden era, the late 80s, early 90s, you think about like when wrestling really exploded on the scene. It was him and Mean Gene Oakland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Were the voices. And at that time, Vince McMahon that was doing interviews and things of that sort until he stepped into mega status. He was working for Pops.
Yeah.
And it was the era, man, the golden era, man. You had the wrestling, Mr. T cartoon, all the fun stuff going on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to me that was the funnest era for me in wrestling because it kind of exploded from the territories, from the Tampa territories to like the New York territory, to the Minnesota territories, to everybody, all this talent coming together at one time, man, and just bringing us entertainment like we've never seen before. Kind of ushering the way for you, big fella.
yes, sir. And I appreciate that, and I love the fact that that you're a fan of wrestling as well as a great player and a great TV analyst, and radio analyst. You do a hell of a job in New York, and man, I'm curious about what you feel about the draft. We've been talking the draft, and I know it's not a sports show, but we talk sports on it. And and I wanted to know, what did you feel about the draft this year? And I asked this question in the last segment. Overall, no affiliations. You're not a fan of a team.
Right.
You need the best player in the draft. Who do you pick?
But you got to ask yourself.
It's not about positioning. Like, oh, well, we need a quarterback. We need to get the best wide receiver. No, yeah. I mean the best player. And then you build your team around this guy.
Well, it has to be Chase Young, right? And
there you go.
Chase Young, you see the impact of what Bosa did last year. Being a rookie, he's arguably better than every one of those players. What Larry Johnson has really established there. I remember when Penn State used to be linebacker U. When you needed a linebacker, you just went to Penn State and plug and play. Whether it was LeVar Arrington, whether it was Matt Millen, you know what I mean? That's what really, when you look at Ohio State has become. They're wise beyond their years. When you talk about pass rushing, it's an art, right? Just like wrestling, it's about being able to be a technician, being able to really shift the weight of your opponent, being able to really, with one or two hands, be able to manhandle 350-pound men because you threaten them with speed, power, agility, and you put them back on their heels. And he has all the tools. And it's not just what you really see when you have young pass rushers coming to the league. They're usually a one-trick pony. They usually got a rip, or they got a long arm stab, and they got a little junior. We call it the junior high swim move when you step upfield and you kind of do the little arm over stuff. Yeah. Well, he has an array of moves where he's able to really understand like how to set guys up, how to set moves up. I mean, he missed 4 games this year because of the The investigation still ended up with 16 sacks. 45% of his tackles come behind the line of scrimmage. 6'4", so he's able to be built in that mold of Julius Peppers, but he's able to set the edge, and he's going to get tested a little bit. But I think if I had to start with a ball of clay, I'm going to start with him because the quarterback is the most important in this league. The second most important person is the person that can distract and that can harass the quarterback on a consistent basis. And when you have a player like that, he really opens everything up for everybody else, because if you're sliding to him or doubling him, then the guy on the opposite side has to do his part in being able to say, hey, I'm going to get the one-on-one. I got to win on a consistent basis.
What about a guy? I love the way you break down Chase there. And what about a guy that we all love here too, Isiah Simmons? Could you break him down a little bit for us? What makes him so special?
Besides running a 4.3,
he's like the jack of all trades, right? He's a jack of all trades, and really, what I'm concerned with him just a little bit is the fact that he's the jack of all trades, and you have to ask yourself, is he the master of what?
Yeah.
Right? Because
Right.
he's going to come in, and a team wants to. When you come in the league, you got to really be able to kind of plug all the holes that you have. Now, he's tremendous. He's a Swiss Army knife. He can line up at corner. He can play in your slot because of his track background. Running a sub 4.3, sub 4.40 or 4.38. He's 6'3". He's rangy. He's big enough. He's 238. Kind of built in the mold a Cam Chancellor, but he's actually more athletic than Cam Chancellor. But what I get concerned is if you bring a guy in the league and you ask him to do all these different things, he's going against guys that are special at certain things. And he needs to really hone in on who he is, because he's not the best outside rusher when you think about the linebackers, because I just told you that Chase Young can be that stand-up guy. Well, I like personally Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma in the middle as far as being a pure linebacker. Now, I like him as well. I like him as the pure safety. So if he's going to come in, you have to decide, I'm just going to teach him safety, and then I'll grow him out and teach him the other positions later. I want him to master a position. I don't want to keep messing with his eyes. It's kind of like in baseball, right? When you think about some of the players, they put them in the outfield. Then, those utility guys, they come in, they play shortstop or they play third. You move Gleyber Torres from shortstop to second base. And what happens is you don't really get opportunity to understand the minute details that goes into understanding, because no matter what position you go to, you're going to get a different view. You got a different perspective. When I'm up on the line on the edge, I'm reading the tackle. And I got to know if this tackle goes away, then something's coming back. Now, if that coming back, is that a fullback kicking me out? Is that a pulling guard kicking me out? Is it an outside receiver coming to crack me? Right? So that's all the type of thing when you talk about football acumen that you need to know just for that particular spot. Now you put him in the middle, he has to see pulling guards, tight ends cracking down on him, receivers cracking on him. Your Singletary used to call it the proximity point, right? It's the point where you hold something where you can see everything without looking at nothing.
Right.
Now, if I'm moving a guy like Isiah Simmons, that's a Swiss Army knife, and I'm moving them all over the place, then what happens
He's never
is he
gonna
can't
find
the
his point.
proximity point for every position that he's lined up in, because it's a different view. I'm 12 yards deep, when I'm a safety. I'm 5 yards off the line when I'm a linebacker. I'm on the line of scrimmage when I'm edge rusher. So I hope wherever he goes, they have a true decisive plan for him, how they want to utilize him, because he can be great at anything, but I want him to focus on one thing as I grow him out. Because listen, this ain't college.
Right.
No.
Kind of reminds me of Jabril Peppers a little bit, right? From Michigan, I think, right? It was kind of the same thing. He wasn't the workout warrior, but he was a guy that could play like multiple positions. They could put him kind of anywhere on the field. So it'd be interesting to see like what folks do with.
You can't do that in NFL.
You really can't. You can do it, but you have to learn something.
Where's
first,
Jabril Peppers at right now?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He got traded for a box of rocks.
That proximity point thing is super interesting, right? And what guys historically have been able to do that? The first person that jumps to my mind is like a guy like Rod Woodson or something, right? Or people who have transitioned from being able to play the safety to the cornerback. But what guys have been able to do that from safety to linebacker?
Well, from safety to linebacker, you think of recent, because he was a bust at safety, but you think about guys like Mark Barron, who has made the transition from playing safety at Alabama and has had a decent career playing linebacker. I actually played safety in college, as well, and never played. I played forms of safety in the league, but mainly I was a linebacker. But they did utilize that early in my career, me as a safety. You think about guys like Jamal Adams who are able to play, safety, but play in the box a lot. Ronnie Lott was pretty much a box safety, which pretty much, nowadays you think about, Eric Berry, guys who play safety, but now because the game is so spread out, you think about the game is played, 50% of the time in sub positions where you're taking a linebacker out and bringing the safety to play that dime backer. That dime backer is just a crossbreed between the safety and the linebacker.
Yeah.
So, but it's a lot more to read because you have to read combination blocks. You know what I mean? What happens is when you're not used to doing that, you freeze. And if you freeze and you're 1 millisecond short, then you're getting hit in the back of the head or decleated or set up for a counter or something.
How was the transition you made then from safety to linebacker? Tell us about that transition. Like how you did that.
I was fortunate enough to play in one of the most complex defenses, the Rex Ryan defense, when I was with the Baltimore Ravens. And coming in the league, I came in the league in 2002. It was still pretty much the era where middle linebackers were probably about 250 to 260 pounds. It was the LeVar Arringtons. It was the Ray Lewises of the world. You think later, Urlacher, these ultra big guys. I was 6'2", and my last year playing safety, I was 220. I didn't run as fast as Simmons. I ran a 4.51, but it was enough speed as the league was transitioning. As you think about in 2002, 2003, the biggest mismatch in a long time came to the league, which was the tight end,
on the linebacker,
right? Because now tight ends, these hybrid tight ends, changed the game. You think about Antonio Gates. Of course, it's always been one. But it became so many of them that, the game had to change. You had to reassess what type of linebacker you're bringing in. So when I was in the league, you had Kellen Winslow Jr. came in. You had Grunt came in during that time. But Hernandez was the matchup nightmare.
Oof.
You think about Delaney Walker. You think about a guy that's 6'3", 6'4", but he's 250. So he's too fast for a linebacker, but he's too big for a safety. Because all you do is you play the matchup game. You had Algie Crumpler, things of that sort. So the transition was like understanding how to grow into your body. And now guys are going on the opposite side. Now guys are super small, and then like guys are like, you think about like Patrick Queen. He's 227, right? That's great. Until you run into a team like the Tennessee Titans and they say, take this Derrick Henry sauce up your chest. You step on your chest, you know what I'm saying?
Take that with you.
Or you look at what the Patriots did 2 years ago, right? The Patriots did 2 years ago. They put a fullback, Devlin back there with the neck roll, and they wasn't ready for that smoke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're not used to seeing it. So,
do you think
like
that my two favorite defenses of all time was the 50 defense and the 46 Bear? And, and a lot of the reason that I like those defenses is because of people like you that are 235, 250 pounds, run a 4.5, 4.6 that can stay with the Gronks and also play close enough to the line that they can stop a running game like Tennessee. Why don't teams, when they face Tennessee and Jacksonville and Dallas with these big-ass potent offensive lines and these great running backs, why don't they switch to that defense more often?
Yeah, because 46, everybody has an element of 46 defense. And, of course, I played for Rex Ryan, who father, Buddy Ryan, created the 46 defense. And he created it, and the reason why it was called 46 was because of Doug Plank. Doug Plank was a safety that they had, and he wore number 46. And, the problem with playing the 46 is you overload the tight end side. So what teams start doing is running speed options and things like that to the opposite side. So if you don't have a stud middle linebacker, you get stuck because it's one-on-one, right? Because you got so many guys close to the line of scrimmage that it's cover one, basically cover zero on the outside. So if you don't got no lockdown corners, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be barbecue chicken, you know what I'm saying, 88 out the gate. And so, like, a lot of people don't have the corners anymore that can play that position.
Yeah, ain't many Darryl Greens going around.
Yeah. If you don't get, shout out to Derrick Green.
Shout out to my kinfolk. They're my kinfolk.
Right 50. You know what I'm saying? So if guys don't have those type of players anymore, if you don't have the lockdown corners, then you have to have like the outside pass rusher, because what the 46 is really a read blitz stunt.
Yeah.
So the guy Doug Plank, who's playing 46, what happens is he has the tight end, but if the tight end blocks out, then the outside pass rusher takes a man-to-man, and it allows that player to do a read blitz. If the tackle blocks down, he shaves his ass. If the tackle blocks out and faces himself, he does a loop stunt through the A-gap So it's a read stunt. So like players can never be right. So players got tired of trying to figure it out because of read stunt. So you can never be right because they have 3 over 2.
Right.
So what happens is teams just start saying, fuck it, I'm just going to go to the outside, man.
Yeah.
All this space over here, I'm not even going to fuck with that. Yeah.
That's why I use. Hey, listen. I know this is gonna sound like crazy. It's like my buddy talking about video game wrestling as opposed to real wrestling. But when I play Madden, I'm in the 46,
There.
and I dare you. If you don't play with Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson, I'm whooping your ass because you got to be able to sprint option. You got to be able to waggle
Outside,
to beat me.
Yeah.
It's no ways or buts about it because, like you said, that A-gap stunt is coming.
Yeah.
And it ain't nothing you can do to stop it but run something else.
If that tight end kicks in the block, that you can bring that safety on every time free.
Because he's extra. So all you can do is pretty much you got to go big boy up. But the problem is because it's man to man, if your man blocks, you get the blitz.
Yep.
So you get the blitz and you have to find a hole. So you get to go wherever you want. So it's unpredictable. So all you can do is do a full slide and hope that that you have time to throw a double move on the back end. It's almost like being in cover 0. So you hope that you can throw a blitz on the back end. So it's ways to kind of combat it. But if you got a team that's locked down, it's hard to play a straight dose of it because teams figure it out, then they can scheme it up. Because you can run.
You can also play
side,
in.
you go option pass, or you can go reverse to the weak side and get. If you got a dumb outside linebacker and he gets to peeking, it could be 88 out the gate because you got a man for a man.
Yeah, I like to play in so I can keep outside contained. And then
we giving Madden tips, man. Who knew?
This is like I can listen to this all day. This is like a master class on defense,
seriously.
on football in general. I'm gonna roll it back around quickly to the draft. And Stu, you got some questions on the draft, don't you? I'd like to hear some questions you have to get us talking a little bit draft here.
Well, I mean, obviously, we're here in heart of Cowboy country. Your thoughts on will the Cowboys do what they usually do, which is trade down or trade out of the first round, or will they stay with that pick and go with somebody in the secondary, which I think is where their biggest deficiency is right now?
Well, they lost Byron Jones, right? They lost Byron Jones, and they really have to replace him. Now they did a good job in trying to replace Robert Quinn by bringing in who did they bring in from Robert Quinn?
They brought Aldon Smith in.
Alden Smith, who hasn't seen
who
the field
knows?
in
He been
4 years.
pumping the Magic Dragon for 4 years. He can't get clipped for that no more. But hopefully, he'll be ready to come back because he was
dominant.
the guy.
At the very least, he's
was
healthy.
The top guy. You talk about 21 sacks in 2 years or something crazy like that.
Dominant.
But I think they really got to get more out of Lawrence. And they have to address, the weakest position for them for years to me have been safety. That's why you heard rumblings about them trying to trade maybe for Jamal Adams. But I think them losing Frederick. They didn't lose Frederick.
That was a huge.
Yeah, they lost. He retired.
That was a huge deal.
Yeah,
he retired because
you always get him and Zach Martin mixed up. But
I like the fact that money don't go against the cap. So.
Right, but I'm saying they have to try and replace him. But the good thing is the draft is deep, so I feel like they can go into their bag late in their bag to go, address that maybe in the third round. Two deepest positions to me is offensive line and receiver.
Yes.
They're good on receiver. They lost Cobb last year, who had about 800 yards. But I think they have to try and get somebody because they can have all the pass rush they want. If they can't, protect on the back end, then they're going to be in trouble. Yeah. So I mean, you think about, of course, Akuta's not going to be there, but he had a teammate, Arnett, that was there. You got the kid from TCU. Let me see, go through my Nizzos. Let me see who they got.
Well, that's the thing because they need a.
The kids aren't.
I think they need a second receiver to take the pressure off of Cooper because otherwise
they're
going to target Cooper. And Gallup
was killing at the end of the season.
Is solid, man.
Gallup could be solid.
Love Gallup, both these guys.
The receivers are so deep, man. It's like and going through.
Gallup did have some drops.
It's at least 20 receivers.
Yeah, in the fourth round, you're gonna be able to get Colin Johnson that played at Texas.
That's right.
There's
great height.
the kid at Arizona gonna be gone.
Ayuk's gonna be gone.
He'll be gone.
Yeah.
Second round, get Duvernay.
Yeah,
You get Duvernay.
you know what I mean? The Jets are hoping to get Claypool.
Oh.
Dude's like 6'5", 240, and he ran a sub 4.4. Like that's second round grades too.
That's
like it's so deep. You got Comet,
Mims.
You know what I mean? You got Comet kid from you got the kid. You got kids
Penn
at
State.
TCU
The kid
right
from
there.
Penn State. What's his name? KJ.
Right?
Oh yeah.
KJ Wright.
Maybe something like that. I know you're talking about.
I know it's KJ
Simmons.
Well, and I've seen a lot
Not
of
Simmons, I don't know.
mock drafts that have the Jets picking CD Lamb in the first round
I've seen
as
that.
well.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
No.
I don't know
Out
about
here
that.
we going Becton, man. Yeah.
I know.
You need that tackle.
I'm glad he failed the drug test. That way he can fall.
Mike Pittman's kid's pretty solid too. Pittman Jr. I think he's USC.
Bart? Who's the one guy no one's?
You got Jefferson. Pittman,
Ooh, I forgot.
he doesn't have the speed, but he has tremendous hands, man. Tremendous catch radius.
He a space finder
you got
too.
Mims there.
Yeah, Mims is.
You can get it's so, man. The receivers, I've never seen this receiver class so deep.
Yeah, it's
Bart,
a
is there a
deep
guy?
draft.
Is there a guy in this draft, Bart, that you have your eye on that maybe like a later round pick that people are going to be, you think, upset that they passed on?
God, if they upset that they're gonna pass on.
I got an underrated one. That
you got, Mark?
that defensive end at where did the quarterback at Philly play?
Dakota? North Dakota?
North Dakota State.
Dakota State?
Yeah.
That defensive end, number 41. Listen, man, couldn't nobody block him all year.
Yeah.
And I know that he could have played in a bigger conference, but still, the cream rise to the top. He was too good for that level. And if you just say that he goes up one level, then he's going to be a serviceable player. And I think that he's safe, and you're going to be able to get him in the fourth round for nothing.
Yeah.
Fifth round for nothing.
Usually when you think about sleepers, when I think about sleepers, I think about the running back position because I think it translates faster than any other position. And I think about the kid Jonathan Taylor, from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You think about a guy. Dude runs a 4.3 at 226.
Ooh.
He's a guy that can get in, and he may get beat up for 4 years, but then who cares? You can kind of trade him in. But he's a guy, man, that I think he catches the ball and he's a lot more agile than people give him credit for. You know what I mean? I think running backs are gonna fall. Right, you're looking at McCaffrey just reset because if you're not a guy that can spot up and catch 85 balls, like McCaffrey, you're not gonna get value because now they're doing it by committee.
Right.
And there's so many good running backs out there. I mean, Swift is probably gonna be the only one that's gonna get picked in the first or second round. Everybody else is gonna be third, fourth round draft picks, but you're gonna get more return for your money. Coming back. Out there in Dallas, they just spent $90 million on Zeke, where you can get that same production and then maybe a little bit more durability. From some of these other cats, when you go running back by committee, so I think running back's gonna be the position that's gonna translate the fastest, and you're gonna get the most bang for your buck. So if anybody's gonna be undervalued, just look at what Sony Michel did his rookie year,
Right.
Coming in, and everybody was worried about Saquon, but you can get that because you can get Kareem Hunt second round, you get Alvin Kamara, right? That's fourth round draft picks. So these are the guys that can give you that instant return on your money.
Fran, I know you had a question to Bart regarding.
Yeah. So we're talking a lot of X's and O's, obviously, and we're talking a lot of prospects. And I kind of want to just bring it back to the personal level and just ask you about your experience. Obviously, being undrafted, being from playing for the Salukis, and transitioning to
shout out Jeremy Chin, third ranked on the safety list.
Right. Transitioning, to a different position, playing for in my opinion, I think a legendary defensive mind in Rex Ryan.
Absolutely, that's
just kind of talk about that whole transition. Kind of you're playing defensive back in college. You have to kind of fight your way in the league. I think we see the documentary style productions that people make about guys trying to break their way into the league. But I really kind of want to get your first person perspective. What's it like trying to hey, I gotta fight my way into the NFL? Did you feel like you had to fight to keep your spot, or can you kind of just go off on that?
I mean, I came in with one foot out the door and one other foot on the banana peel. That's just kind of how it is, the life of an undrafted rookie free agent. Right. And that's the position that's going to suffer the most because, I didn't go to the combine. I had one team show up to my pro day, and that was the Baltimore Ravens, right? And they took a chance on me. I had a $500 signing bonus.
Wow.
I came in, and it's funny because a lot of these guys when they pull up and they get picked up at the airport, they're gonna get on a bus. They're gonna look at a bus. They're gonna step on the steps, and when they go on the bus, they're gonna see guys from Alabama, LSU, all that, right? And it's funny the arrogance in which they carry themselves, right? Because they sit up tall, right? Because they come from prestigious organizations. Everybody know who they are. But, the approach I took was that your university can't save your ass now. It's just you against me. And if it got to be you against me, I know it's going to be me because I'm willing to die for what I believe in are you, right? So they were so used to having it so easy, man. Like, when I was at Southern Illinois, man, it was like, first of all, one year, remember the kangaroo cleats?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Had the zipper in the tongue.
The zipper in the tongue, bro. One year, our athletic program gave us kangaroos. I say, man, what the hell? Who kangaroos? Like, I had never heard of kangaroos. So somebody found an old batch of Herschel Payton, Walter Payton cleats and gave it to us. I called my mom like, Mom, can you send me some money? I need to buy some cleats. You know what I'm saying? I once went to a game on a UPS plane. Did y'all even know my point?
What?
When we were landing, I thought we were crashing because there was no damn windows on the plane. So I say that to say this, right? I was so used to not having anything that I was grateful for anything.
Right.
So a lot of these guys coming from these HBCUs, coming from these, small colleges, if you got your mind right and you hungry, the people from the big universities can't match your intensity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why my nickname was the Mad Backer. That's why I was always fighting. Because I was fighting for my respect. I was there for the respect. I wasn't there for the money. I was there for my respect. Like, you're going to remember my name, bro. Like, you might be first right now, but you're going to be last when this thing's over with. And that's the mindset that all these guys going to have to take.
That you have to have. No safety net.
Yeah.
None of that.
I remember my mom not eating until me and my brother had enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of these things that, this is completely away from football, play from the draft. I think that the NCAA has got one foot in the grave right now because what the NBA is doing is going to happen in football.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
In a matter of a year or two, it's going to happen. The WWF or WWE had the rule where they can take a guy that was 1 year removed, but they can take a guy straight out of college. It was coming, but they didn't get to finish because the pandemic ended this season. And the XFL next year would have been the year that somebody could have came straight out of college and went and played there.
Right.
They were getting guys pick it up. PJ Walker
where basketball is because you think about these one and dones in the NCAA. You see the two kids that one kid Isiah, I forget his name, decommitted from Michigan.
Todd.
Yeah, he decommitted from Michigan, and the other kid's going straight there.
Yeah, $400,000.
Listen, and it's funny because you hear the argument of NCAA and what they're trying to say is no, we need we need football next year. But if you need football, then and there's no students there, then how can you say that these guys shouldn't get paid? Because you're telling us that it's big business for the NCAA, but then you're telling them that they need to come back. When it's not safe for students, then it shouldn't be safe for the athletes to come back as well.
Right.
So, like, the NCAA is really stuck.
Yeah,
and they have to figure out if they're going to say, we're just going to pay these
One
guys
foot in the
because
grave.
we need
That's
this money because
saying.
they build so many buildings. It takes care of the university. All the other sports benefit from football and the revenue that it brings in. So we're going to have to pay these guys. We've been fighting this fight for a long time, whether it was the kids from Northwestern that sued the NCAA to try and get paid. Now they're going to have to say that they're the value. Ain't this about a bit, right? Like, a couple years ago when Manziel got in trouble for making money, like he was the number one selling jersey on the NCAA website, and they had to hurry up and take it down. So you can benefit from me, but I can't benefit from me.
Crazy.
Right.
I'm me.
Right.
How the fuck I can't benefit from me?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You always been very colorful. Give us a good Rex Ryan story that relates to you.
Rex Ryan story. Oh man. I'm trying to think, man. Rex is funny, man. First of all, like me and Rex, we all came up together, right? We all came up together because he was an defensive line coach, and I was like basically a walking cone. You know what I mean? My first couple of years in the league. You know what I'm saying? So like, Rex is just funny, man. Like, the funny stories I have, man, is really more about Ray, man, and like his theatrics, man, and how funny it is just to be around this dude because like he was like take himself too serious, man.
Yeah, tell us one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. What you got?
I mean, so like let's just say, okay, right. So like one time, like you understand, I didn't play with any good quarterbacks ever in my career, right? Like no, I mean it's just honest God truth. I mean, like I played with Steve McNair, but he was at the end of his career. We went 13-3. Right. So I remember one year our quarterback was Anthony Wright.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
I remember
okay.
Anthony Wright.
Yeah.
We used to call him A Wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Wrong.
So like we going to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. We step up in the locker room. I come in there, man. I'm looking up. This had to be like one of those days we just knew, like, man, we're gonna get our ass kicked. This ain't gonna be it. You look up to your left. Deion Sanders has all his uniform laid out like he always does, like little headband for his neck and all that shit, right? He's been stretched by Cordell Stewart, like the most metrosexual looking stuff you ever seen in your life, man. Like, they balls damn near touching. I'm like, what the hell is going on, man? Like, hey, Prime, we got people that do that, man. Like, we all heard what they say about Cordell Stewart, man. Like, what the hell y'all doing over there, man?
Yeah.
Then you got Anthony Wright, right? Anthony Wright's on the other side. He's starting today, right? He wasn't our starter. Somebody got hurt. So this dude just breaks out into baby boy. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. He said, man, I ain't gonna let no man come in my house. We like, what the fuck? Like everybody got their music on, but he loud. You like, what the fuck? Ain't gonna let no man come in my house, drink my Kool-Aid, break blood of my wife. Man, hey, man. We looked at each other like, what the fuck is he talking about?
What is he on?
So then I look at Suggs, man. Me and Suggs look at each other, man. We looked at the defense. We by ourselves today, boy. This motherfucker over there pissing in his goddamn pants.
Man.
Oh my God. Man, hey man, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Oh man.
I love to have you forever, man, because this has been a lot of fun for us. But like, man, just promises you'll come back on again sometime, man.
Bro, you got the direct line, bro. Anytime you need me, it's all good, man.
Before you go, we have a thing that we call flexing, and you're the first person that have come on the show that actually don't have to do a flex. All you got to do is move your head a little bit one way or the other and let us see the palatial. That's a flex.
That's a flex.
We got a flex.
Look at that. Oh, my Lord.
Damn.
Easy, big fella.
Yeah.
Call the ball on the bench, baby.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Bart.
That was Bart Scott, man.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have